I digress. Let's get into it. So, Benny and Joon. I'd never seen this movie before, but I gotta say, I liked it. It's my buddy's favorite romantic comedy, so I put it on the list. And I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting this. It was cool though. People who don't know what this film is, it's from 1993, starring Johnny Depp, and honestly I'm forgetting some of the other actors' names, but that's why we have the internet. So I'll look that up shortly in the IMDb page. But it stars Johnny Depp, and it's a love story between him and Joon. But you would think that Johnny Depp's character's name is Benny in this film, but it's not, because Benny and Joon and Johnny Depp get together, but Benny is Joon's brother, and I didn't get that until a little bit into the film, not too long, like about 20 minutes in, and then I was like, oh, okay, they're brother and sister. They explained it eventually, because at first I'm like, what is the relationship? At first I thought that Benny and Joon were dating, but then we find out that he's taking care of Joon because she's mentally ill and she needs a little bit of help sometimes. So they end up getting Johnny Depp in their house, whose name is Sam, because Joon loses a poker game and they have to take him from somebody for a little bit. So he's staying with them, and of course that's where the romance comes in. And the cool thing about this movie is that it's not really like other romantic comedies. I think that's why I like it. I quite like this, I would say. It's different. It's not by the numbers at all. There's some things that are a little similar, but you need some similarities or else it's not really in the same genre. But no, it's funny. It's actually funny, which a lot of romantic comedies aren't, for one. It's quirky. I'll get into some of the fun little quirks and characteristics of some of the characters here. But first, let's just see what's going on the internet. Anyone say anything? Hello, folks. Welcome to Dr. Booty Quiver TV. We're talking Benny and Joon. Let's look it up on IMDb, because I want to talk about some of the actors. And yeah, this was really good. I would highly recommend this. This was better than Gran Torino. I'm saying it. Maybe, you don't agree if you've seen both of these films, but that's what I'm saying. And because I'm only saying that because that's the other film that I reviewed this week. But hey, / today, but today is still in this week, so that counts. Okay, anyway. Johnny Depp, Mary Stuart Masterson is Joon, and we got Aidan Quinn, who's Benny, or Benjamin, as they say sometimes. And Julianne Moore. I thought that this was her. It's a young Julianne Moore. William H. Macy, too, who, yeah, I noticed right away. But he's only in 2 scenes, but he is in the film. He's in it. And then this Oliver Platt guy, who's in a ton of stuff. He was in that wrestling movie I reviewed a while back. What was that movie called? Oh, I forget. But he was in that wrestling movie I reviewed a while back. I'm blanking on the name of it. Ready to Rumble, maybe? It might have been called that. If that's wrong, I apologize. But it's not that important. The point is that he's also in Dr. Dolittle, I think. This guy's in a lot of stuff. Oliver Platt. Yeah, anyways. Benny and Joon, let's click on the IMDb page. I didn't even click on it yet. 7.1 out of 10. That's pretty good, This says lower than Gran Torino. I would put this above Gran Torino, personally, for me. I think it was just a little more, inventive, and I like the characters more, I think. And it's, zany, and it's fun. They're very different movies, though. The only reason I'm comparing it, again, is because I reviewed Gran Torino earlier. But, yeah. Let's look at this here. So, like I said, 7.1, that's not bad. That's still pretty good. Rating for IMDb. Johnny Depp, as I said, is Sam. I went through all the characters. Let's go to the bottom. Let's see if this movie made some money. This was before Johnny Depp, I think, was huge, but I think he was still, he was doing it. He was, still obviously a leading man in this, so doing something right. Oh, this did not do great. I don't think. Oh wait, actually I don't know. It might have. It might have done okay. It's hard to tell because it doesn't say the budget. It only says the gross, but it grossed 23 million. So if it made if the budget was less than $23,261,580, then they maybe did an okay job. But I'm not sure what the budget was on this. Sometimes they just don't say, and that's okay. But yeah, no, I like this. So let's talk about the characters a little more. So Johnny Depp's character is Sam, and he is originally, before he's staying with Joon and Benny, he is staying with one of Benny's friends, I guess. I forget his name, but it's not important. And he's getting sick of him, that's why he wants him out. But characteristics that I would say are noteworthy with his character is that he can't read. So maybe he's a little bit slow, possibly, but he's also really smart in other ways. They show how good he is at like physical comedy, because he's a fan of Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin and the earlier films like that, earlier comedies, silent comedy, and they show him doing all these bits. There's lots of fun. I loved all those scenes with him doing fun, silly stuff. Some of the time I'm like, okay, maybe they would, people, like, because he's doing this stuff he's doing these crazy gags at, like, sort of disrupting things at a restaurant. That's the one where I was like, wouldn't they, like, tell him to stop? And they sort of do, but they end up liking it. And honestly, if I was working there, I'd be like, hey, this is awesome, this is funny. And I would maybe film it, but this was 1993, so people probably wouldn't have had cameras in their pockets or even just around at that time. But anyway, I'm getting a little bit off track. But yeah, no, he loves silent films, and he loves old films. He loves movies. That's like a big part of his character. And Joon is like really smart. So she's maybe smarter than Johnny Depp. Not that it's important, but then Johnny Depp, like, he can't read, but she knows, so she's helping him like write letters to his mom, and that's a cute scene. There's a scene where she's unwell, so maybe Johnny Depp is more, like, he seems more regular at times, and by that I mean there's a scene where Joon has got a snorkel on and she's like running, like when Joon's doing stuff like that. Joon can act relatively normal, and what is normal, right? Also, but. No, it's just a really good story. It's told well. You really feel for the characters, and it feels like a good match. It's very different for a lot of ways. And it does discuss mental illness, and I think not a way that's aged poorly. I think that they're really trying to figure out what is best for her. What should we do? How should we help Joon, kind of thing. And I liked the ending, and I don't even want to ruin it because I don't have to. All I have to say is that I liked the ending. It was really cute. It could have maybe been one little note without giving anything away. It could have been resolved maybe a little more. I would have liked to see a little more development, because there's a whole plot line with Benny going on dates, but he can't because he's always saying, oh, he's too busy, he's dealing with Joon, even though that's not really the case. I think he's just making excuses, but that's what he says. He has to help Joon. His life's too complicated to date. But then, of course, at the end, they sort of open it up to like, okay, maybe he is gonna go and start dating now. Ruthie, this girl, they sort of make it seem like they're a good match for each other. But then at the end, you sort of figure, okay, they'll get together. But I would have liked just a little more of them getting together. So I guess that was a mild spoiler of the ending. But, I think you'd still enjoy this film. It's more about like the jokes and the characters, and the dialogue. It's fun. It's just good. It was a good movie. And yeah, Joon is a painter is another big, important part about her character. Because she's painting like the whole movie, and she likes to eat very specific things. They show her making, in a blender, Captain Crunch, milk, and peanut butter, all inside of a blender. And honestly, think about that. It might not be that bad. It's like sort of like almost like a milkshake or something, but with like those flavors seem like they would go well together, honestly. So that was kind of fun. There's lots of food things like that. Like she loves tapioca pudding. She loves tapioca pudding. No, this is just a real cute movie, and I would highly recommend it to folks who haven't seen it. I had never heard of it until we were talking about rom-coms at my old job the other day, and they were saying, "Oh, hey, have you seen Benny and Joon?" And I said, "What's Benny and Joon?" And then here we are. It was on Tubi, just as Gran Torino is. Currently, they'll probably take it off at the end of the month. That seems to be what it is. They get like good titles on Tubi for like a month, and then they switch them out at the end of the month for different titles. But then they get rid of those ones, you know. And it's like, I get it, it's efficient, but I've had a couple times where I'm watching a movie halfway, and then I go back, and it's gone. I can't watch it because they took it off Tubi. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. But, you know, this movie's really good. All the acting's really good. The story, like, it's not really that much the story, just sort of them trying to figure out how they're gonna make life work with Johnny Depp's character and with June and Benny. How are they gonna make all their lives work? It's basically the plot, you know. And Johnny Depp gets a job at a video store, which makes sense because he loves movies, and I like that. So, you know, there's very little to say negative about this. It could have been, the ending could have been resolved maybe a little more. That's one minor thing I would say. But that's, yeah, like I said, that's very minor, so. No, I like this. I like this overall. I'm gonna have to end the review, I think. We're pretty much good. I don't have much else to say. I've said what I have. Very little negative things. Mainly good. I think I'm gonna give it a pretty high rating. I like this. I liked it a lot. So let's just give it a good old. It's hard to pick, but it's good. I'm gonna give it 8 point. I'm gonna give it 8 point something. 8. You know what? It's so close. Not quite. 8.9. Almost a 9. But I'm feeling 8.9. Feels right. Seems correct. Very good film. Just a little, could have been resolved a little bit more. Some things were maybe not so believable, but really overall quite good. I would highly recommend it. Benny and Joon. 8.9 out of 10 Doug's is the rating I'm going with. So yeah, check it out on Tubi. Well, you still can if you haven't seen it anyway. If you're interested by this at all, anyway. I liked it. It was because it's a different sort of take on the romantic comedy. I haven't seen anything like this as far as rom-coms go. 8.9. Yeah, no, that's good for me. That's very good rating for me. Absolutely. I don't often go this high. Let me tell you. There was a time, I think I've started to rate a little more conservatively, for lack of a better term. But this was really good. It deserves 8.9. 8.9 out of 10. Doug's, Benny and Joon. Yeah. Alright. That's that. We reviewed it. Boom. It was a fun little comedy. There's nothing quite like that, I'd say. It didn't go by the numbers. That's why I liked it. It didn't go by the numbers. Alright, there's the end of the review.